Okay, this is part 8 of our tutorial series. So let's continue exposing some of these parameters and also give them understandable names. So if you click on the node and go to tab here, you can click on the output or group input. If you hit N, you can access all the interface. The interface meaning all your outputs and input names here. So if you go to tab, you can see what we have here. So let's look at the outputs we have. So this output here is the overall mask, which is a combination of these worn out areas plus those scratches. So let me call this worn mask. And then, so this value 2 is the value 2 would be, let me just check. So this is value 1, the worn out mask, plus a combination of the worn out mask and our scratches. Value 2 is just the scratches. So, and then value 3 is these hard edges. So let me call this value 3 hard edges, and then value 2 is scratches. Those are our outputs. For our input, so for our inputs, we have the noise scale. So just call it. You can call them better names than I'm doing here, but I'm just going to make it simple here. Noise name, noise scale, and then the second value is let's see, goes directly to our greater than value. Let me see, what does it do? Preview the final mask here. I'm not sure how to call this, but I think I'm just going to call it smaller noise, just to make things simple. Smaller noise. So our template is done for the most part, and again, if we preview this, this is what we have so far. We can reuse this template for any of the objects we have here. The difference is we need to also have a way to switch out the curvature mask that we are using for these objects, because some of these objects are using different curvature mask from these two tables, from the table and the chair. So we'll find a way to switch that out, but for now, let's see what else we can add to this. So we have scratches, we have that. I think for the most part, we can always just come back and build on top of that. So let's expose these red and blue colors so that we can change them, switch them out for a different image or a mask if you want. So let's access our, so where are they? Okay, they are not inside the mask, inside the worn out areas. So I can just copy that, tab into here, paste that there, or let me just add it through color, mix RGB, and I know that this output here kind of is the output for that. So you can connect that directly to that, then these two here. Now can make this red and blue to match the colors we had before. Red and blue, and make sure that now this feeds directly into our base color. And I think I can rename this, instead of calling it the mask, I can just call it diffuse for our material output. Now we need an input to be able to change the colors without tabbing into the node group itself. So for that, I'm just going to drag. Let me expand this for a second. Just going to drag color 1 to node input. Like that. And then also color 2 like that. Now if I want to change the color, I'll just change it directly from here without entering the node group. And you can also switch these out for textures. So I can add a texture, image texture. Let's find some mode here. So I have this. Connect these to color 1. And so this is going to be our wood. And for color 2, we can still use, I'm not sure if I want to replace it, because I like how this white paint shows that is paint worn out. That was worn out from the table. Some of this is just getting worn out from the table, so I'm not sure if I want to switch that out. But if you wanted, you can just use a different image here. So let me just do this. Use the same image for color 2. Which will essentially remove that difference. You see, you don't see any difference anymore. But if we added a color RGB curve, because usually the worn out areas are more brighter and less saturated. So if I increase the saturation for these, you can see how that looks. Maybe reduce on the intensity of our bump map just a bit. And let's try adjusting some of these parameters and see what we can get. You can turn on ambient occlusion to see how things look. So we have everything set up here, and yeah, I think it's starting to come out really nice. So continue from there in the next part.